Have you wanted to lose weight but felt stuck? Like the path you're on is just running straight into a mountain? Well, today I'm going to be hiking up an actual mountain, and I thought I'd give you some reflections on the way up about that. And I thought I'd start off by reading this quote to you. It's from Marcus Aurelius. "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purpose the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." So if there's a mountain standing in your way, let's move toward it today, and I'll see you on the trail. I've been thinking a lot lately about that quote. What stands in the way becomes the way. The impediment to our action advances action. Is, I think, powerful words. And when we think specifically about trying to lose weight, so many people trying to do this, trying so many different things. It's kind of like, how do we get around the mountain, you know? But I think a lot, how do we go straight at it? How do we use the mountain against itself? This is what I'm trying to do on the Simple Fasting channel. Body fat exists to power our body in a food-free space. That's like the whole purpose of it. So to actually just lean into that and say, I'm gonna open up that space, that is really going straight at the mountain. And as we use that energy that's within us, that's like moving up and climbing up the mountain. We want to move directly toward the issue we're trying to solve. How do we go about that? I say we want to do it in the most thoughtful way possible. Weight loss in general, so much hype about it, so many people trying to sell people so many products and things to solve these problems, and so much pressure to have these problems solved in a short amount of time. I've always found it best to take a long-term approach, and that takes a lot of pressure off. So what can we glean from our hike today about that? Okay, how do you hike up a mountain? Well, one step at a time, right? You got to start out. That's the first step. You got to take the first step, and then of course you can't do it all at once. One step at a time. And as I'm getting to a steeper part, you got to make them smaller steps. But it doesn't so much matter how big the steps are, as long as we just keep the general direction, stay on the path, then we can feel pretty good that we're gonna get there in the long run. So I was thinking about finding joy on the journey. This, I think, is such an important thing to think about. All right, we're thinking about heading directly at an obstacle. I'm not gonna say that that isn't an intense thing to do. Just a direct approach. That's what I like about fasting. It's, I say aggressive, it's powerful. So many times, to accomplish something significant in life, we need something powerful. Just because something is powerful, just because it's intense. Okay, we've said approach it in a thoughtful way. If we can find joy while we're doing that, that's how you can really stick with it, So many times people try a weight loss program or process. They'll stick with it for a little while. They'll have some results, but then it doesn't last. To me, the only results that matter are long-term results. If we lower our expectations in the short term, it can really help us to think long-term. I think this is how we can start to find joy in the moment. When we think so big, we want to sprint up the whole mountain all at once. Or at the very least, we want to be there, to get off our analogy. We want to lose all the weight we want by 3 months from now. And when that doesn't happen, then we get disappointed. So we want to slow down. I think one of the big issues that we have is that we want to accomplish everything all at once. So what are the things that we control, actually? It's our direction. That's probably the first thing we should think about. If we're trying to find joy, we have to be heading in the right direction. We have to have a direction to begin with. A lot of times, we can just be aimless. That's how we kind of end up spinning in circles. So we want a really clear direction of where we're going, a clear path. So if we have a path, if we have a direction, the other thing we can control is the speed. This is what I'm thinking about a lot right now, hiking up a mountain. Try to talk to you all while I'm hiking up a mountain and not getting short of breath. So there's a lot of things. That's life, right? We've got to balance a lot of variables between our work and family commitments and trying to take care of ourselves. One of the best pieces of advice I often give to people is, slow down. Make tiny little bites. So it's easy to say, just find the joy in the journey and not just the destination. I think, doesn't everybody kind of get that in practice is more difficult. Maybe you have to slow it down to the very tiniest little bit where it feels like, oh, we're just moving an inch at a time. I think that's what I'll be doing right here. What would it look like to have joy in the journey? There's a good question to ask. How can I just live one day that is taking me one step in the direction I'm trying to go? And can that be good enough? One step at a time, that's how we're getting up the hill. Every day is one step. Can we just find joy in that day, in that moment? What is that saying? Journey of 1,000 miles is a single step. Okay, if it's really 1,000 miles and it's a long time, this is why people burn out. If you're not finding joy in the journey, you're gonna burn out. So we slow things down. We focus on getting our direction right. And if we're finding joy in that one little step, then we can replicate that every day. And then we just stay centered and present in that moment. And that's how, in the long term, we get to the top of the mountain. All right, we're getting toward the top. It's getting exciting. As I've been walking along, I've been thinking about, the planning that went into the trip and finding a hike. And one of the things, as you read about hiking in backcountry in Yellowstone, everybody says, bring bear spray, which is basically this giant pepper spray. And if a bear's gonna attack you, you can shoot the bear spray at it. It won't hurt the bear, but it'll keep it away from you. So I've been thinking about, our intention here. We're trying to slowly and steadily move in a direction of health and wholeness. And how do you do that when it's like, okay, have you experienced this? Anytime you try to accomplish something, it's like you set out and then there are forces resisting you, right? Or things are gonna be going okay, it seems like things are going smoothly, and then something happens, right? And maybe it's something significant that just totally knocks you off your path. We think in our context, like, oh, a bear attack. That's, we get attacked by a bear, we're definitely not making it to the top of our mountain here. So we got the bear spray. We plan ahead. We have it in the unlikely event we need it. So if you're moving in a direction, say, I'm gonna turn in a different direction in my life, meaning I'm gonna really dive into some sort of practice, lose weight, get healthy, really go for it. Maybe dive in on this channel, practice some fasting. Okay, think, what are the things that are gonna be barriers to that? If you have specific things that you're dealing with, of course, chat about it in the comments. Certain situations where you're like, oh, I've been here before. Every time I started moving toward it, then, you know, this happened. Or I spend time with this person and they lead me in a different direction. Or I do this activity and then that leads to, you know, eating, you know, things that I know that I don't want to do. So I'd say take some time and write that out, plan ahead and say, what's the bear spray? You know, what is the thing that I can do that will ward that off and protect the journey here so that we can really accomplish what we're after. All right, so made it up to the top, and the reflection I have is so beautiful up here. Have a mountaintop experience. You know, we all need that and we all want that. I think about, okay, joy on the journey, we're reflecting on how to do that. Sometimes it can almost start to feel like an excuse, like, oh, we're just telling ourselves joy on the journey because we're never gonna get to the top. But the top exists, the mountaintop exists, and slow and steady, every day you're doing just what you can to get there and you will accomplish it. And as you build momentum and you experience, okay, yeah, every day I'm taking a step, I'm keeping myself on track. Sometimes you get there faster than you thought it would be possible. And so I want to help people do that. I want to help people slow down so that you can build momentum. But it's not that I want people to take as long as possible. You got to start slow and build it. So you build the skill, build the momentum so that you can actually get to the top of a mountain and experience a place like this. So there's joy in the journey, absolutely. There's joy in accomplishing something profound also. And of course, I want that for everybody. All right, we're heading back down. And that's my big reflection as we're heading back down the other side is that, I mean, obviously, it's a lot easier walking back down. So the reflection I have about this, I'm actually just thinking of one patient in particular who came in, had all kinds of symptoms, and we ended up diagnosing them with a new diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. And we got them on treatment, and I'm talking to them, I'm like, you know, you might want to consider leaning into this fasting process. And over the course of a year, that person lost over 50 pounds. They got back off all their medication and really feeling incredible. But it was a lot of work. And I remember talking with them at the end of the year. I was like, you know, really accomplished something here. Like, this is really profound. And, you know, the big goal from here is just ride the wave, keep things going. And I was able to follow that person for 7 years. And, you know, the 6 years after that, it was not such a struggle. That's what I want to tell people. Okay, we got joy in the journey. We are as thoughtful and caring with ourselves as we can as we're trying to climb up the mountain. I'll show some of these beautiful flowers here. We're thoughtful as we can as we're climbing up the mountain. And we can get there, we can accomplish what we're after. And then, you know, it can get even better after that, because once we're on the other side, things really can be a lot easier. It really can open up life and health and vitality in ways that I think a lot of people don't even think are possible. So I'm just gonna enjoy this gentle descent down the hill, down the rest of the mountain here, and we'll catch you at the bottom. All right, we made it back down to the bottom. Thanks for joining me on this little journey. If you like content like this, invite you to check out some other content, and I'll look forward to seeing you there.